The market potential here is absurdly large. Workers in the US are paid around $18 trillion per year in aggregate. For the entire world, the number is over 3 times greater, around 60 trillion per year. The explosive economic growth likely to result from completely automating labor could generate vast abundance, much higher standards of living, and new goods and services that we can't even imagine today. What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the AI Marketing Navigator. This is your daily compass in the ever-evolving world of AI marketing. Okay, navigators, definitely a quick one tonight as we are a bit pressed for time, but one that I am truly fascinated to be talking about with you. Tonight, we are talking about an AI startup that goes well beyond just marketing. I'm going to confess to that right off the bat. As we often do on this show, we end up diverting into larger AI topics that affect work as a whole. We do that both because I think it is valuable and good to know as workers and marketers who use the technology. I think it technically counts as AI marketing content, but also because selfishly I'm fascinated by AI as a whole. And I don't think that's any secret to any of you listening to this show. So again, you'll have to forgive me for going a bit outside of the scope of just AI marketing tonight when we talk about Mechanize Inc. And huge shout out to Rundown.ai for their recent edition covering Mechanize. But without burying the lead any further, Mechanize is a startup that's seeking to automate the entire work of the economy. And this is really the first startup that's stated the goal of accomplishing something that really AI optimists and early adopters have been discussing and in some cases hoping for, and in other cases warning against. Really, I think it should be a mixture of both, but it's what they've all been talking about and what we've been talking about on this show when it comes to what AI could mean for the complete replacement or displacement of work and how it could lead to, potentially an entirely new socioeconomic order. And Mechanize has boldly stated that they are planning on leading the charge to that reality. So I think the best way to go tonight is just to read to you the announcement from the Mechanize team. Of course, I'll link to this in the show notes at mechanize.work. But quite honestly, this covers basically every piece of information that is available about Mechanize right now, which is part of the reason that our episode is so short. But the minute I read into it, I knew it was perfect to take advantage of my shorter time window tonight and geek out on it with you AI marketing navigators. Okay, so we are looking at the announcement now. And it reads, "Today we are announcing Mechanize, a startup focused on developing virtual work environments, benchmarks, and training data that will enable the full automation of the economy. We will achieve this by creating simulated environments and evaluations that capture the full scope of what people do at their jobs. This includes using a computer, completing long horizon tasks that lack clear criteria for success, coordinating with others, and reprioritizing in the face of obstacles and interruptions. We're betting that the lion's share of value from AI will come from automating ordinary labor tasks, rather than from geniuses in a data center. Currently, AI models have serious shortcomings that render most of this enormous value out of reach. They are unreliable, lack robust long context capabilities, struggle with agency and multimodality, and can't execute long-term plans without going off the rails. To overcome these limitations, Mechanize will produce the data and evals necessary for comprehensively automating work. Our digital environments will act as practical simulations of real-world work scenarios, enabling agents to learn useful abilities through RL, reinforced learning or reinforcement learning. The market potential here is absurdly large. Workers in the US are paid around $18 trillion per year in aggregate. For the entire world, the number is over 3 times greater, around 60 trillion per year. The explosive economic growth likely to result from completely automating labor could generate vast abundance, much higher standards of living, and new goods and services that we can't even imagine today. Our vision is to realize this potential as soon as possible." And then this is signed by the founders, the co-founders of Mechanize, and that is Matthew Barnett, and excuse me for any mispronunciation here, Tamay Besiroglu and Ege Erdil. And this was written on April 17th of 2025 for anybody who's not watching along on video here. It also gives some information into the investors and backers for Mechanize, which include Nat Friedman, Daniel Gross, Patrick Collison, Dwarkesh Patel, Jeff Dean, Sholto Douglas, and Marcus Abramovich. Again, I've only heard of one of those investors, but just wanted to give you guys all the information here in the announcement. Again, you can check this out for yourself at mechanize.work. They also say that they're hiring a full stack engineer. So if you're interested in being part of the team that's going to automate the entire economy, you can apply here. So some pretty incredibly lofty goals in that mission. But again, if you'll allow me to get on my soapbox for a minute, I think there are a lot of directions that AI could take humanity as a whole. A new level of abundance and a new higher standard of living for everyone on the planet is certainly one of those possibilities. I think it's incredibly early to suggest that that's the most likely outcome at this point, but honestly, I think it is a possible outcome, and it's the one that I'm hoping for one. And along with that, of course, all of the scientific and health and wellness innovations that would bring, not just what it means for a work-free economy or work-free society. I mean, to be honest, I don't think there are many people out there who would hear these end goals, for instance, a social utopia of some sort, and think that that's a bad thing. But of course, there needs to be some sort of realism brought into the discussion as well, and what that actual journey would look like, what that actual implementation would look like through social policy, through the actual day-to-day lives of the current workforce. And these are the questions that I wish I had the answers to, are certainly beyond our pay grade here at the AI Marketing Navigator. And we can continue to discuss all day about the upskilling and the education that needs to take place for workers. But again, to bring realism back to the forefront, it's hard to imagine this journey to AI abundance as anything but painful in a lot of respects. I also think it's going to happen no matter what we say or what we discuss, just like the Industrial Revolution or the first technology revolution with the advent of the internet and now the AI revolution. I think the discussion certainly has shifted, or at least needs to shift, from whether or not it's going to happen to how can we mitigate the pain as it happens. I think that needs to be the focus, but importantly, it needs to be the focus outside of the AI bubble, and I don't know if that is the case at this point. Again, I think the change is going to happen regardless, as it also happened in the revolutions that we've kind of been drawing parallels to, or just drew parallels to. I think we would all agree, though, that for those revolutions, the world is, for the most part, a better place. Let's not get into the realms even further outside of the main theme of our show by discussing the state of the world as a whole. But I believe the end result of this revolution also has massive potential to make the world a better place. And call me an optimist, I still think that we're going to get there. Okay, that does it for our episode tonight. If you enjoyed the show or found it useful in any way, please do me a favor and follow on Spotify or subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. A review on top of that would be even more appreciated and is by far the most helpful thing you can do for the show. Also, if you are watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you get notified each day when our episode drops. Until then, and as always, thank you so much for joining me, and remember to stay curious, stay consistent, and keep navigating forward. Bye.